Salutations, Internet. This is Frosty the Dragon, and remember when I said I was going to do a couple LPs? Well, here's one of them. It's an old shareware DOS game called Dark Ages. So, basic story is, you're the prince and heir to a great kingdom, wizard kidnapped you to send you to be raised by peasants, runs it like a dictator, kind of forgets that he delivers you to one of the kingdom's greatest heroes. So you get taught as a master fighter and learn how to use magic. Not really important, this is the shareware days, so a wall of text like this is all the story you get. Not really much to think about in that regard. And I guess I expected to read this. But that's not really important right now. I'm basically, at this point, just showing off the standard screens. The standard instructions, standard story, takes you places. And there are definitely more powerful weapons, it's just going to take a while for us to get to them. Something I actually want to go over here. At the start, you might have seen a little option screen with difficulty settings on this. It affects all of one thing in this game that I'll get to once it becomes relevant. Yeah, I seriously did consider basically reading out everything. Now, Wise Men is basically, they'll show you the way if you give them the object they need. Wise Men are basically only there for the first episode entirely. And I really need to remember to turn off Steam notifications when I do stuff like this. Oh well. I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna show we're gonna see what the first game that supported first game to support the ad-lib card, at least the first shareware one. Which kind of explains why I'm winging it here. And you notice they only used the ad-lib card for the music portion. Those sound effects? PC speaker. And if you're wondering about the Wise Men, there's only one icon one item or anything they could possibly want in a level. So there's really no point in me trying to figure out what to look for, because it's pretty standard. Alright, I'll come up with official names when we get to the second episode, or at least see if I can find out anything about official names of enemies. But those bat-like things, bat-like things just fly everywhere, and if they off-screen, they'll wait for you. Kind of a weird gimmick, if you ask me. The walking guys, like one hit to kill, they try to follow you. As far as the bat-like thing that shows up when the Wise Men get their item, for all intents and purposes, I consider them invincible. And those spider things, they just stay on the same platform. And yes, those boulders can be destroyed, as you're going to see shortly. And what I just picked up there was a crystal. Basically, with those crystals, yeah, you can see it. Multiple shots on screen. Boulders take 5 hits. And I have got to turn off my notifications. Okay, now we're seeing where the difficulties come into play. Had this been easy mode, that would not be showing 10 coins, it'd be showing 1 coin and 1 more hit point at the bottom. Easy mode, you get 10 coins to refill a hit point. Medium, you get 20 coins and you refill a hit point. Hard, it takes a whopping 30. This is much more punishing than you would think at first glance, as you are undoubtedly going to witness. And this is what I mean by the off-screen behavior. You notice he went off-screen and didn't go far. which can... The fact that they come in, they start moving as soon as they're on screen, leads to some nasty, nasty, nasty surprises. And one thing you're going to run into that became fairly obvious when I started shooting, there are indeed hidden passages. Not as many as you would think, but that's... Or maybe it's exactly how many you'd think, because this was one of the old shareware games, and there wasn't a lot of space for that kind of complexity yet. The fact that a boulder comes out of there kind of ruins the surprise, though, if you ask me. So that touch, no. Yeah, I will say, when I first played this, I was probably like somewhere between 8, yeah, no, I might not even have been 8 years old at that point. But we did not have access to an ad-lib card, so I did not get to enjoy this music. I only had the PC speaker sound effects. Alright, so what you just saw with that is one of the two more powerful magic weapons that they cited in the instruction screen. The first weapon we had was a magic bolt that just flew in a straight line. This is a magic boomerang, as you're just kind of witnessed right there. It's a very awkwardly curving weapon. Can mess with some minor puzzle elements later if you have this instead of the magic bolts. I still prefer to get the boomerang every chance I get, because that's another chance to hit. Enemies. Also, somewhere I hit the 30 coin threshold. Really, the first episode is... Now, maybe it's just me playing it way too much in the shareware days, but this first episode is downright trivial in comparison. I like the fact that they're trying to throw more enemies at you, but the execution leaves quite a bit to be desired on that front. And by the way, before you ask, yes, that lava... Kool-Aid, whatever the heck that stuff is down there, does hurt you. Why did I call it Kool-Aid when this is clearly a medieval-style fantasy? Whatever. You know, playing this, I don't know if it's just not been paying attention or what, I never noticed that symbol on the coins. That's a weird symbol, and I might want to look up if that actually means anything, or if it's just a stylistic gag they threw in. And the wise men don't always ask for exotic things like keys and masks. Some of them just ask for food. Which is just as arduous to get, mind you. I should also add that despite me playing the version that's in the Apogee collection, from my understanding, this game actually is freeware. So, if you've got the nerve to go ahead and get a copy of DOSBox for yourself and download this, I think you still can. With the Steam package there, I don't know if that's possible anymore. Should be, though. Those hands, if you're stepping on them, they will grab you and hold you in place. And yes, that grab does deal damage. Thankfully, nothing in this game can deal more than one hit point at a time, and you do get some measure of invincibility, as you may have caught when I've taken damage earlier in this. And I do not know what what's with the bits of bone down there, especially that moving one. But as far as I know, there is quite a bit in the ways of this is a lot of undead around here, so I guess it makes sense. As far as... Well, what I just picked up there was a heart. Full heal. I think they used too many of these over the course of the game. But maybe that's just me. And those dragon things cannot turn around. Stay stationary, and there's a weapon later that you can use to more easily kill them. With like the like instead of the stupid boomerang here. Yeah, everything is trying to kill you. The spider webs deal damage, for crying out loud. Anyone got an explanation for why spider webs would deal direct damage? Whatever. So, what I was saying about the waterfall earlier. You can tell if a square is damaging or if a tile is damaging or not. And here's a good example. You can tell if it's damaging or not in the waterfall. See if it's bubbling. Like the waterfall is actually hitting it. See, this square isn't. And I'm going through way too much hassle for another crystal. Or is it not enough? This was one of the few levels without a wise man. That's going to be normal from here on out. And now we're sent to go after a key. And I kind of hate what they're doing with the spiders here. They've got wind-blown grass. And they mix the spiders right in, making them quite a bit harder to see than they should be. And I'll be honest, the waterfall effects, I'm not a fan of. You'll find that out later. For now, though, that jump you just saw is probably one of the most difficult jumps in the first episode, right there. And they're just throwing boulders everywhere here. Whereas these guys in the weird red outfits, the ones that take one hit to kill, you can trick them. See, if you're halfway on a tile, it counts as if you're in both of them, and if you're on the same tile as one of the if you're like halfway like that, they'll think you're not in, those undead things will think you're not in range, and they'll just go after you on the next one. They'll just go after the next one. That's how you get them to move. You're going to see me pull that stunt. And yes, those crumbling blocks are going to be abused later. You're going to see part of an episode later, where you've got a lot of running across them in a short time frame. And also, I've decided to just say screw it with that particular geyser, because that is very, very annoyingly placed. And I'm pretty sure you can deal enough damage to kill those variants of the bird thingies, but I don't even want to think of how much damage that takes. Especially when I've got enough of those things to kill, like right here. If it doesn't look like you're damaging them, that might just mean there's more than one, as you've just kind of witnessed there. And also why you do not want to stand in their faces, because there could be more than one, and you might need to deal enough damage to kill one, but not all of them before you take damage yourself. Probably my low point of the episode right here, considering how much I keep getting damaged and keep... Very finicky hitboxes this game has, if you can't tell by that jumping. Where it looks like I should have gotten the coin like 4 or 5 times already. Oddly enough, the finicky hitboxes work a little in the favor of the game. In favor of you playing here. Let me start that over. The hitboxes work in your favor, because you've got more leeway, and there's the hand I was talking about. you've got more leeway in avoiding things. And despite it coming at a very opportune time, part of me wonders whether there should have really been a heart there. And when I said about the boomerang screwing up puzzles, we're going to see that. We're going to see that right now. It looks like it looks easy in this one case. You have to off-screen it. And then... yeah. They make it possible for you to hit it with other weapons, but not always easy. And they'll include pits for no reason. Which tends to work out better than you think. I'm pretty much just going for the high score at this point. Oh man. Here we go. I took damage getting it, but what you just saw me pick up was the magic beam. I prefer to call it the lightning bolt. You hold the button down, as I've just demonstrated there and will be demonstrating quite a bit. It releases a continuous stream of shots. I would go so far as to say, when we get to the final episode, going through the puzzle to get this weapon again is absolutely worth it. No questions. And normally I'd say up front that this music is a guarantee that you're in the final level of the episode, but I think they screw with that at one point. Yeah, there's almost no way of avoiding damage. Now, these little jumpers, they jump right in the air, slam into the ground, get destroyed. That's the only way to destroy them. You can't shoot them. I do want to avoid damage because I want to see if I can complete this episode. Did want to see if I could complete this episode in one life. Whoops, I gotta turn this down too. Hang on. Why am I noticing this all the way up? We're reaching the end, and most of this level speaks for itself. That they're pulling out standard first episode stops, and this is what I meant by the funky hitbox, right? Well, before I got grabbed by that thing. I learned here that you can be a bit more daring with these guys, considering the specific length of the bolts. And one jumping puzzle later, and that's a wrap. You can survive the first leg of the journey against impossible odds. And pretty standard splash screen, winner is you style. Future episodes I'll worry about caring more about this kind of thing. I doubt it's hundreds. You'll see for yourself. And I will add, the Steam release left this pretty pristine. Because the fact they left it in the order screens, they just slapped this thing in a DOSBox and called it a day, which is just fine, to be honest. Cheat mode password, which I never cared about. And I beat my own high score. Next time on Let's Play Dark Ages, we go further into the underworld. This is Frosty, signing out.